Hello and welcome back to the Women Making Her Story series. I'm your host today, Nancy Matthews, one of the founders of Women's Prosperity Network. And I got to tell you, we have been having such an amazing experience hearing from all of you as you're watching the videos, meeting these women, and also sharing with us your stories of how you're making her story. So thank you for being a woman making herstory, a man supporting women making herstory, and being a part of this series and this movement. Today I am privileged to introduce to you a woman that I first met before I was even on this path creating Women's Prosperity Network. Her and her husband were huge mentors in my life, and now I'm grateful to be able to call them colleagues and friends. And I'm so happy you were able to get to be with us today. Welcome, Alexa Oliva.
Thank you, Nancy. It's always awesome embarking in new projects with you and just really sharing our story and our struggles mostly so that people know how to overcome them so that they could see that they're just not the only ones in the struggle for being a woman in business.
Yeah, it's very true, because it can look like, oh, a pretty perfect picture. And you know what? Life is messy. It just is. And learning to love the mess is, I think, really the secret of it all.
I agree.
Yeah.
Learning to dissect your life with that mess, and it's kind of like it's all like bleh, right there, and then you're like, okay, how do I make this function and still have a life and a kid and relationships and family and all that good stuff.
Yes. And with all of that, finding a way to stand up for something that really touches your heart, which is what we're going to be talking about today. So let all our viewers know a little bit about you and your background. Alexa Oliva has been on the board of directors for the National Association of Women Business Owners, Global One, Mind Buzz Enterprises, Regional Policy Council for Miami-Dade County, City Reach Ministries, and the FODS at Florida International University. Disability Resources Center, as well as the Senior Volunteer Coordinator for a 2004 U.S. Senatorial candidate. Alexa holds an AA degree from Miami-Dade Community College, a BA specializing in marketing and advertising from the University of Miami with business development, and accreditations from the University of Florida. She's also received certifications for human trafficking and emerging epidemic, and has been trained at the DVSAC Sexual Assault Summit. Today, she holds a seat on the board for a U.S.-based nonprofit Motivational Missions and is a founding member. She's also a member of the South Florida Human Trafficking Task Force and the 2015 Miami Beach Hispanic Heritage Adult Contributor to Youth Award winner. This is a woman who is making her story for the thousands and thousands and thousands of people that she's worked with, mentored, and supported in their business growth, and making her story by serving to end a horrific situation with human trafficking. So thank you for being you. So good.
Thank you.
How did this come about for you? So I'm going to just dive into the great work that you're doing on this piece with Motivational Missions.
Actually, we were participating in a conference in Belize in 2011, and happened to cross the border in Guatemala while we were touring, just speaking to different children there. After the conference, they asked us to do that. And I saw a sign, a billboard that said, "Careful with human trafficking and people being trafficked through the borders." And I was like, whoa, they got a problem here. And then I got back to the hotel, and there was a television commercial about human trafficking. And I was like, oh my gosh, they really have a problem over here. Then got back, and I was on the board for the Miami Beach Chamber of Commerce, and we're having a meeting, and an agent from Homeland Security came in and gave us a presentation and told us that here in South Florida, we're number 3 for human trafficking. And I was like, whoa. Wow. And they were like, children from the ages of 12 to 14 are the primary victims. I was like, whoa, I got 2 of those at home. I was like, so who's speaking to the children? He's like, nobody. There's no funding for that. And I'm like, what? I said, would you help me if I started this journey? And he said, for sure. So 5-6 years later, that's Agent Victor Williams, is a very good friend of mine. And he has helped us kind of start this foundation and the avenues for these global events that we're having now.
Yeah, yeah, and which is fantastic. And, you know, interestingly, a few months ago, I got a call from one of our members, Diana, and she said, Nancy, there are these girls that are hiding out from, you know, human trafficking, and they're in danger. Do you know anybody who could help? And I texted you, and then what happened?
Well, it was late, so I tried to get some people on the phone.
It was really late. We're talking like 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah. Yeah. And, oh, well, I think it was 11 for me. It might've been 12 for you because I was in Nashville at the time. So it was probably even later for you. And so I called some people in South Florida, not knowing, just got the information. I said, okay, let's get on the phone. Let's call these people. Let's call all the contacts that we've made from our task force. But not a lot of people are picking up their phones at that time.
Yeah.
So called Diana, and she told me that they were in Central Florida. So then I got on the phone because we work with Department of Children and Families also, and I was able to call a friend of mine that works there, and she immediately hooked us up with the liaison for human trafficking for the Department of Children and Families. So immediately they contacted the FBI, and we opened up a case in Polaris, and they reached out to the girls. Well, it turns out they weren't girls, so I had to transfer departments, and they were women. There was 4 women hiding out in a gas station.
Wow. And, you know, the bottom line is you were able to get to them and get them help and get them safe, really.
Yeah. Within, I want to say less than an hour, we already had the correct people paying attention to the case.
Yeah. So I want to, this is something that feels to me very disturbing. You know, I don't want to think about it. I want to talk about it, and we have to.
Yes.
So what are some ways that we, all of us watching this, can mobilize, be more alert? What can we do to help this epidemic that's happening?
I think one of the biggest awareness is just doing a little bit of research, reading a couple of articles when it comes to that, listening and having your children participate in these type of assemblies that we're having in the schools, because unfortunately our children don't like to listen to us. Mm-hmm. They listen to everybody else, and yeah, I came home with it, and they were like, "Yeah, isn't that like taken? Yeah, mom, whatever." But once they started,
I'm okay. It won't happen.
Okay. I'm an adult. I can handle myself. I know how to protect myself. But the reality is that anybody could be a victim of human trafficking. We were just in Trinidad, and this actually came out in the front page after they interviewed us, because they were surprised that there was organ trafficking also. They had no idea. And I was like, yeah, there's organ trafficking, there's babies, there's labor. I mean, we, in our presentations, one of the videos that we show are girls that are just braiding hair for 17 hours a day, and they're holding their passports hostage. So it could be anything. And my son actually spoke at a human trafficking rally in January, and he did some research and found that organs, the prices of organs, you know, it's like, I don't know, like, I don't remember the numbers, but say like 125,000 for a kidney and 17,000 per eye. I mean, just ridiculous stuff. And if you think that it's just children, you are completely wrong. It could be anybody that has anything that someone is willing to pay for.
Wow. So, thank you. And I know that you have some big event that you've got going on soon. Are we allowed to talk about that?
We have a fundraiser that we're coordinating called Launch 52, because we started a campaign this year, January 1st, for 52 weeks to do social media campaigns addressing the target market, children ages 12 to 14. So our social media is more directed, and our message is more towards them. Although we are not primarily or only speaking about human trafficking, we also are certified in prevention of bullying and sexual assault. So depending on the city that we go to, or the school, the community that we're in, that's where we put our efforts in, you know, our message, our modules, because we have built up modules to teach, and not just teach them prevention, because it's kind of like, oh, we're going to go in and scare the kids and tell them all this stuff.
Right.
But what we do is we've come up with a curriculum that actually empowers them, teaches them leadership skills and self-confidence to avoid falling into those things.
That's happening. Yeah.
And then we teach them the indicators. What is human trafficking? What is it about? And how do I prevent it? And when and if I do get caught up or know a friend that is caught up in that, where do I go for help?
Yeah.
So we give them the local information as well.
Which is great, which is great. You know, it's interesting. I'm just recalling a memory when I was about 12 years old. And so I'm 12 years old, it's junior high school, and I left school that day and a car pulls up and this guy tells me, "Oh, you're so pretty. Do you want to be a model?"
That's it. That's all it takes.
As a 12-year-old, I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is so wonderful, exciting." And I went home and I told my mother about it and she's like, "No way, you get that dress." But it was so easy for me. And I haven't thought about this in years.
Yes. In one of our meetings, we actually had an FBI specialist, internet specialist there, and he was telling us that 63% of the cases, they're fished through the internet.
Wow.
So, you know, with the internet, it's a dangerous tool, especially with that dark web stuff that people know how to get onto.
Yes.
And all that. And, you know, there's just so many different avenues that you feel that, no, you know, I'm immune to it, or it's not going to happen to me because I'm protecting myself. All it takes is 1 second of you not paying attention and you're caught up in this web that you cannot get out. And one thing that people don't realize is that you can be trafficked and still be living at home. And I know that can, they'll threaten you, your family, your pets, whatever, you know, your community, if you don't show up to work.
Wow.
So you can still be at home and be a victim of human trafficking.
Not even because you're not going to tell anybody about it because
you can't, because if you say anything, you're endangering somebody's life, if not your own.
Wow. So thank you for leading that charge, and believe the link you're going to give us is going to keep us connected so we can know about your launch and how we can be involved supporting your efforts, right? Yes.
Awesome. We created a link to a PDF that has more information on what our organization is about, how, statistics on it, very important governmental links and things like that so that we can give there. It's an awareness tool. So it's mmtour.org/connect.
Okay, good. And we're going to put the link is right underneath this video to make it nice and easy for everybody too. So perfect. I want to ask a side question before I go to who was a woman in history. And it has to do with the whole concept of being a social conscious entrepreneur. I know so many entrepreneurs that have a passion and want to make a difference, and then maybe they do charity work, or maybe they can't find a way to balance it all together. Do you have any suggestions? Because you do it all. Like, girl, you doing it all, and it amazes me.
Yeah, I have a pretty large family, and normally I had to send out a massive text so that there's not people swarming behind me and in front of me. Because one of the best ways that I believe to balance everything, and I will swear by it, is a calendar. Yeah. That is the best tool, because you put everything into the calendar. It was the hardest thing to program my mother to send me an appointment to make sure I didn't forget something important for the family or for her or whatever it was. And I think that that is the most important thing in balancing your life as a professional, as a mother, as a wife, as a sister, as all those things that we need to be nowadays.
Awesome. Yeah, using it. And you know what? The technology makes it easier. So I use a combination. I use Google Calendar for my structure and my appointments and everything. But then I keep a little list, because things will pop in my head during the day and I got to jot.
These have to get transferred to the journal on a daily basis. And I'm very kinesthetic, so I have to write things down and then transfer them to the appropriate places.
Yeah.
But that's my everyday, sorry I look like a little bit of a bum, but I got bombarded after the gym. So that's one of the things, is that I started waking up earlier and also going to the gym and taking care of my health, because for so many years I did not pay attention to it, and I was just busy building my business and raising my family, that I, as a woman, fell apart. And I got on a mission to bring sexy back, So part of that was, hey, you got to wake up an hour earlier and get your butt in gear and go to the gym and take your vitamins and go to the doctor every 3 months.
Yeah. Well, let me just say, mission accomplished, girl. You are rocking it. so
Still a
good.
work in progress. Still a work in progress. I think
Oh,
that's an eternal work in progress always, especially as we start aging, that things start like shifting faster and you're like, whoa.
where'd that go? Too funny. All right, beautiful. So who is a woman in history that had a big impact in your life?
Well, there's one historical icon that I was always fascinated by, and that's Princess Diana. For all her efforts. I mean, here she is, this global, beautiful icon, and she does not care to take off her shoes and dig her feet in the ground and just really, really connect with people. And that human connection is basically what the foundation of our organization is. It's the human connection, things that we're not connecting with when we're just living our day-to-day lives now. And especially now with all this technology, it's hard to touch and feel people. And we feel that by having these assemblies and really paying attention to empowering our youth, we want to bring that back. We want to bring back that human connection like she was doing. She was embarked on this journey around the world, really connecting from the heart. And I feel that that's one of the reasons that I admire her the most.
I love it. I love it. So you said there was a historical figure. I got the sense you were going to share about someone else too.
There is. I have a personal mentor that I met about 10 years ago, and she just blew my mind and my heart at the same time. And the way that she loves so unconditionally is, I believe, the thing that I admire the most about her. Her name is Ilanka Horezi. And she's actually out of Nashville, and that's why I go to Nashville so frequently, because, you know, the coaches need coaches.
Yeah.
And I just re-energize, and just, you know, just watching her in action through, you know, even through turbulence, she is just such a champion. And I can only hope that one day I can emulate, you know, her energy and her passion for living.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. I'm going to go look her up. So
Resi.com.
I will. And I've never been to Nashville. So, you know, now I have another reason to go there. So that's great.
Yeah.
Alexa, thank you so much for being my friend, my mentor, for standing up for those who need you to stand up for them, who need us to stand up for them. And just being so awesome, in addition to, you know, all the things you do from a business perspective are extraordinary. So get in touch with Alexa, connect at the button below, and let's keep making history together.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having us.
My absolute pleasure.
I mean, you know, the girls team over here.
It's all connected. It's all connected. Yeah. All right. Very good. Thank you for joining us. Thank you to all of our viewers for tuning in today for Women Making Herstory. Be sure to check your inbox. There's a couple more coming your way. Have a beautiful day and click those buttons. Get the connection with Alexa and join the movement. Have a great day, everybody. Bye now. Bye, Alexa.
Bye.